Well, it's good morning from Karachi National Stadium in Pakistan. So we'd like to welcome you to our broadcast originating here from Karachi Live. Naeem Chan here, your commentator. I'll be alongside Devendra Maharaj. Good morning to all of you, especially those people back in Australia and the West Indies. These are the two teams here.
Good morning, Mr. Chan. As we have an appeal for LBW there, umpire doesn't seem to be interested.
Just to bring you up to scratch with what's happening here. Scott Brand, the bowler. Australia winning the toss and electing to have the West Indies take first strike. This, of course, is one of the several warm-up games leading into the official tournament, which starts on Saturday, Pakistan time. And so all the teams, there are 12 of them assembling and converging here in Karachi. And the two teams out there, as I mentioned, Australia, they won the toss, elected to field first in this 2020 World Cup 2025.
Again, Brandt coming in, left arm, swinging the ball back into the right-handed batsman Lal, hitting the pad, going down the leg side, short appeal, not out by the umpire. Beautiful. And we have beautiful cricket.
Down the ground. This is going to go all the way. Nice shot there, pitched up, and Lal just getting into the sweet spot and driving it straight down the ground four. That's the first boundary of the West Indies innings.
It's a beautiful shot there by Lal, just waiting for the ball to come into him, playing through the line, hitting it straight down the ground for a boundary. First boundary for the innings.
Gets it past the man, no. Nice bit of fielding there. Mid-off, that's the end of the first over. 5 without loss. Australia winning the toss and having the West Indies bat first. The two teams there for you on your screen. Australia to your left and the West Indies. Asif Chan also the wicketkeeper. Lawrence Farnham, he's the captain. James Panelli for Australia is the captain. Jeff Hemming, wicketkeeper. Your full squad. Spin for the first time this morning. Well, off of a very short run, it's actually just about medium. Big shot outside the off stump. And the West Indies, they had their first practice game yesterday, which they lost. against the United States. They mustered 188 yesterday. Not sufficient. We had a blast there. Down the ground again. It's not going to get towards the boundary. And that's the style of Lal. Very aggressive. Hails from Guyana in the West Indies. Asif Chan, of course, from Guyana also. So we've got people, many of the players in the West Indies team from different parts, the BVI, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Guyana, of course. Many of the players are from Guyana. So good morning to Guyana and by extension the West Indies. Nice weather conditions. I was looking at some of the names on those stadium stands. Masood, Hassan, Shahid Afridi. And here Mark Cleary, right arm medium, off of a very short run.
Mid-off region there. First strike of the ball here this morning to him. Oh, ball by the umpire. Asif throwing his bat at it, hoping to get something on it. You know, tickling it down to the boundary for 4, getting the full face strike. Fortunately, it kept on moving away from him.
Just missing the outside edge, pretty close, leaving the left-handed batsman.
Clearly moving the ball away from Asif. There's a lot of dew outside here this morning, I saw on the ground.
And of course there's, that's the end of the over, I think, yes it is, 8 without loss. But there's extremely intense sunshine in Karachi. We arrived here just a few days ago for this tournament, and the official games will begin on Saturday. 12 teams from around the globe. Yesterday we had a little look, Davy, of Hong Kong, and there was another team, I can't recall the team they played against.
I believe they played against the Gymkhana team at the Gymkhana ground.
Pretty little ground also. Brandt in his second over.
As Lal plays that off his back foot into the short cover region and stealing a single, which brings Asif back on strike now. As I was saying, Naim, there's a lot of dew on the ground, so I suspect that there should not be a lot of swing in that ball anymore, because obviously the ball getting wet as it's rolling along the ground there, it'll be hard to keep it dry on one side, shiny. It would also become a bit heavier, allowing lack of swing.
Are you surprised Australia winning the toss and electing to bowl first?
I am. I thought they would have. Brandt goes into bowl. Especially I think they're taking their chances up front and trying to restrict West Indies and, batting on a drier wicket in the second innings.
It looks like the West Indies have suffered their first casualty. Asif Chan just banging that straight into the hands. He was on the back foot and ricocheted off the upper part of the bat. Simple catch there, Davy.
I think Asif was trying to get that over the mid-off region there, but played a bit too soon, not getting full contact with the ball to get it over the mid-off catcher. If go
Well, the West Indies had their opening game yesterday, practice match against the USA. They mustered actually quite a good score, with the West Indies posting 188 in their 20 overs, losing 4 wickets in the process. Had some good knocks from Larry Babb, 61, Richard Latif, 51, coming in very quick time. So the West Indies actually were beginning to celebrate in the camp a little too soon, because the USA had other thoughts in their heads. And it came from the bat of Anwar Ahmad, 68 of just 28 deliveries. The USA clinching that game yesterday. Today they're up against Australia.
Yes, it was some prolific batting against West Indies yesterday. I think he took the game away from us yesterday. Naeem?
It'll be interesting to have another look at that.
Ball swinging into Atwell, but he's batting about 1.5 feet outside of the crease. So I think he's trying to negate the swing there. Naeem?
I think that's one of the things that the umpire looked at, quick singer. It all boils down here, Davy. At some stage, the West Indies would have to. I know one of the. He's given out, actually. We looked at that again. He was trying to tug it away down the leg side. So the West Indies in a spot of bother. 2 wickets going down for 10. That's a big swing down the leg side.
Definitely, I think he was expecting the ball to come back into him, which it had been doing the overs before. But as we discussed a little bit earlier, the dew factor on the ground, allowing the ball to get wet and get a bit heavier. The ball's not swinging anymore. So I think he premeditated that shot, and unfortunately the ball just held its line, and he was given out LBW.
Well, there he is walking back. The West Indies off to a pretty bad start here at the Karachi National Stadium. Dejected. Yesterday he didn't get off the mark. Didn't do pretty well yesterday either. So they're trying to have their form here, Davy. I guess like all the other teams, because the flight in from JFK in the United States, getting into Karachi took us about 15, 16 hours. I myself was pretty disoriented, jet lagged. You're reaching in at a completely different time zone. So many of these players from the various countries are now trying to have a grip on their psychology. Lawrence Farnham, the West Indies captain, swinging down the leg side. He's going to get off the mark. That's the kind of strategy they were talking about. I guess all the in T20 cricket these days, Davy, dot balls, no balls, wides, overthrows are things that you stay away from clearly.
As well played by Farnham there, working the ball onto the leg side. I think he is waiting a bit longer for the ball now, allowing it to get to him, enabling him to work the ball around. It's not easy, especially when the ball, as we were discussing before, gets a bit heavier, it gets a little bit wet. It tends to slide off of the pitch now, and you have to play a little bit quicker in order to get accustomed to that.
Peeling off the bat there. Peeling off the bat, Atwell. Another one bites the dust. And the West Indies have been making a steady journey to and from the pavilion. So wicket number 3. And look at that current run rate. Below 4. So they're trying to grasp the conditions here. The West Indies, like the Australians, like all of the 12 teams across the globe participating in this tournament.
I think Atwell trying to work that ball on the leg side, got an outside edge to the point region and taken. The score being 12 for 3, this being the 4th over in progress, definitely think that they're trying to get the score ticking over quickly, and it's forcing them now to play shots that are not necessarily there to be played. Unfortunately, did not work out well. Atwell is back in the pavilion, scoring 1 off of 3 deliveries. We have Latif is coming in, scored a brilliant half century yesterday. Let's see how he can do well. Let's see how he can do on this surface. A different surface here, different conditions. Let's see if he'll be able to stick around and do what's necessary for West Indies and hopefully give them a good finish to the start of this innings.
Well, Richard Latif is by nature a very aggressive batsman, one of the top softball players back in the West Indies. He's got quite a prolific career, but he plays both versions. But by nature, he's pretty aggressive. I think he's got to temper that aggression in this game because of the circumstances. And clearly, Cleary is having his way. He's been deceiving them, getting the ball to peel off the bat.
As Latif just squeezes that one out there, ball trickling back onto the stumps. We've seen many times where, they get the ball dug out, as they say, and goes back onto the stumps and the bail comes off. Cleary back in again. Latif advances down the track and just plays straight back to Cleary. And that's the end of the over. The West Indies is for 3 at the end of 4 overs.
That current run rate just pretty poor at the moment. Look at the projected score, 60. And I guess Australia, having all of this success, Brant has had 2 for 8. There's absolutely no need to hold them back. I guess they have several other bowlers, so these guys are doing the damage. Let's just continue with them. I think that's a rationale that the Australians are using.
Well, Brandt bowling 2 overs and getting a wicket each over he has bowled. As you're saying, the rationale behind it is we're on top of the game. Why not bowl another one? And let's see if he can get a third.
It's because some of these bowlers, when you take them off the attack, they suddenly lose their rhythm when you bring them back on. So I think that's the idea, the thinking of the Australians.
That, for sure, as the fielder just slides on the boundary, think he had it in his hand and just came out crossing the rope. 4 runs, as Samuel Badri would say, a fortuitous boundary for West Indies.
He's quite a character. He's smiling and laughing at himself.
That's all you can do when you misfeel on the boundary and it goes for 4.
That's pretty bad from Brandt. Quite on target all the while and then suddenly down the leg side. But somehow or the other, I get the distinct impression that Farnham was not reading him because that ball popped on him, peeled off the bat. They had a slip cordon in place. So he's definitely not reading Brandt at the moment.
It goes back again to the ball. It does what it wants to do on the pitch. Sliding, gripping, moving. You're going to end up extra pace in that delivery and losing his head position and just angling the ball down the leg side.
I think that was going probably down the leg side. But I'm a little surprised here, Davey, that there's even not a solitary slip. Obviously, Farnham is not reading Brandt. That's the opportunity that the Australians should have been grasping. I'm thinking there must be at least a solitary slip. Put these batsmen on the pressure. You already have them with their backs against the wall.
Based on what I'm seeing Brandt is doing here, I don't think he wants to slip because he's bowling straighter, trying to attack the stumps. I believe he's using the protection down the leg side.
End of the over. So we've 17 for 3. Not a pleasant script to read. Davey, you're from the West Indies. This must be very hurtful when you're watching that screen.
It's West Indies cricket. It hurts my heart. We have Farnham, 5 of 8 deliveries. Latif, yeah. And 3. Latif face side off stump, trying to get the ball past the Latif is playing quite properly there, just off the back foot, straight to the ground. As you were saying before, you know, he needed to curb his power hitting ability, and I think that he's doing this right now, playing the role that is necessary.
Well, by nature, as I mentioned before, he would not be staying there and kept in custody like a little child on a Sunday morning. So he's going to go after it, the least offered to him. That was pitched up there by Cleary, striking it down the ground with a lot of venom.
You've eloquently put that. But I would just put it as afterward. As he gets a single, and Farnham is now back on strike. He played the ODI shots. We called it the cut 'em and the sweep 'em. All his runs like that.
Runs here. It's going to go all the way towards the boundary. That was nicely chopped away there by Latif. Short. Cleary seems to have the kind of composure that he doesn't lose his confidence, but on that occasion, short got the right treatment.
I think Latif is, again, waiting on the ball, which allowed him to, as it came onto him, just get the boundary backward point. And that's what they need. That's what West Indies need to do here, is allow the ball to come on them. Get the boundaries when the bad ball is offered up, and look for the singles when they can.
Pretty national stadium, as was expected. This is a cricket crazy country. Pakistan, the city of Karachi. Many of the great Pakistani players, those are some of the Australians in their camp, their dugout. So many great players coming out of Pakistan. And I lived in the West Indies, so Pakistan and the West Indies play extremely exciting cricket. And so we're always lining up to have a view of them in the West Indies. Single here.
So we have a new bowler, Panelli, as he comes in left arm. On him to the backward square region. Just he's not doing badly considering the situation that West Indies is in at the moment. 28 for 3 at 6.1 overs. Power play being completed. What do you think they were looking at, Mr. Chan, in the power play?
Well, the ideal situation is to get, if you can, that's the big inverted commas phrase, if you can. The ideal the ideal projection in your mind is 60. Achieving it, it's another thing.
Sweetly played off the pads there by Latif to get a single, working the ball past the man in mid-wicket. As we see a shot of the West Indies camp there. See, Lal seems to be padded up still. I'm not sure if he thinks he's going to get another knock.
In Guyana, they call him ball oil, meaning in colloquial. Nice shot there from Farnham, just squaring it up on the offside. But in Guyanese parlance, you describe someone as ball oil when they just live to play the game. He's one of those fellas coming out of the Cinderella County of Essequibo in Guyana. So that's his nickname. Down the ground. Nice shot there, Latif. He's not going to adhere to the advice that we want you to stay there and help to build back the collateral damage done to the West Indies early batters. He's just clobbering that one.
But I think Latif still is going to play his natural game. Once the ball is in his zone, he's going to dispatch it to wherever it needs to be dispatched. So this is what you want. You want some aggression, and you want some suave and be aggressive at the same time.
Slow one there. Panelli's gone for 7 already in his first over. In fact, 8. So that's the end of over number 7. 35 for the loss of 3. Not quite an encouraging spectacle.
I think Nelly going for 8, the highest over so far of the game. With that being said, yesterday West Indies scored 32 in the first 6 overs and were able to still muster 188. So there seems to be some batting to come at the end of the tail of West Indies. So let's see what happens from here. There's still 13 overs to go in the game. This is the lovely game of cricket where anything can happen at any point in time. And, I think if they get 130 to 150, it could lead to a game that both teams would have to fight to try to win. But they definitely need to give the bowlers something to work with.
New bowler, Wild. In our part of the world, we spell that W-I-L-D. Probably in the other side of the earth, it's W-Y-L-D. Struck again, not getting quite hold of it. But nowadays, Davy, you'd like to think, especially in the big stage, like the IPL and the big bashes and CPL and all of that, it's now, if you don't get to 180 to 200, and anything over that is bonus, you're not in business. But when a team sets out, as in the case of the West Indies, when a team sets out to achieve 60 in the power play and they turn up at the ground, and then all of a sudden you see you're 36 for 3 in the 8th over. So lots of changes the batting side would have to do, adjustments, stealing, milking the bowling, stealing a single, converting ones into twos. And to be quite honest, Farnham has that kind of temperament. As you said earlier, it's cut 'em and sweep 'em, so he has that temperament.
I think that if West Indies has to go on to put a good score on the board here, Farnham is going to be crucial. As Wild completes his first over.
You can't miss that guy in that orange jersey. He's the manager of the West Indies, Mr. Raj Singh. Good morning to you, sir, if you're hearing us. When I say you can't miss you understand exactly what I'm saying. If the camera doesn't pick you up, it can't pick up anything.
I see Mr. Singh is scratching his head there, wondering what West Indies doing. Why are our batsmen not setting the targets that they spoke about? Here we have another new bowler at the crease, Sean Matthews, as this is the second spinner introduced, off spinner. Latif is on strike here now. I think Latif is doing well so far, working the ball around. When it's in his zone, he's going after it. Once Latif can stay, I think we will be able to progress to a good, productive score. Well bowled there by Matthews in the block hole almost immediately.
Well, it's good to see that Latif can temper and tailor his innings. Because to be quite honest, he can be very erratic, fuse blows very quickly. There you go. But just getting the outside edge. What has happened there? Leg before. Yes, given out. Let's have a look at this again. I thought for a moment he came off the bat.
I think that is what he might have been trying to indicate there. But it was hit straight in front. So the only thing that could have saved him is if he got a piece of bat on it. I think we need not speak about what they should and should not do, because it seems to be working in the opposite way as we discussed.
Richard Latif, 16 in 15 balls. Yesterday he had quite a, in contrast, 51 off 38 balls, 4 sixes, 2 fours. Just couldn't get around there this morning. The Australians have been pretty tight. There were a few that have been straying down the leg side, spilled. But in general, you look at the scoreboard and you know that they've done pretty well. 36 for 4 after asking the West Indies to bat first.
Well, we have Ramnanan coming in to bat. 4 wickets down. It's just a matter of working the ball the next couple of overs, and then as more shots. And when I say we, I'm referring to the West Indies.
Talk about commentator's curse. That's a cricketer's curse. He's in the commentary box. Maharaj from Trinidad joining us to do a bit of commentaries here. Quite a fantastic job he's doing.
Mr. Chan, I appreciate any sentiments that come from you. 40 years in the commentary business in Guyana, well known throughout the world. So to have a compliment like that, I'm honored.
Just not making contact there, Ramanan. But I'm seeing many of these players for the first time, actually. Ramanan impressed me yesterday as having his head on his shoulder, very sober-headed. He can really dig in deep. Whether he can stem the tide of the Australians and their bowling, that's another issue. But the West Indies have got some depth in their batting. But a big role would have to be played in any recovery for the West Indies. That role would have to be played by these two.
These two need to bat to 12 to 13 overs, try to rotate, get the score up to about 60, 65, and then the power hitters can come behind and lay the platform, which would have been laid by Ramnanan and Farnham, and be able to build on that and hopefully get the target, a bigger target.
End of over number 9. It's 37 for 4. Welcome to our commentaries, live from the Visions platform at the Karachi National Stadium. And we've had excellent conditions, very, very dry. Those pitches, Davy, yesterday we looked at a few down at the other ground, what Gymkhana ground, Karachi Gymkhana, right next door to our hotel actually. And that pitch was like concrete, extremely hard.
The pitch was so much like concrete, the color was even the same.
Ah, this is bad. Terrible. That's one of the cardinal sins you don't want to commit in T20 games. You don't want to get run out. You don't want to bowl no balls, overthrows, and give away a lot of byes and dot balls. Run out is on that list. There you go. Confusion reigns. And Ramanan, who we thought would have been the person to hold on there with Farnham, now having to go back. Yesterday he had a very stable knock. Confusion reigns.
Not taking away from that shot that Ramanan played, Wild was the one who ran across and fielded the ball and was able to pick it up in front of the fielder who was at that short region there and get it back to the keeper. It was not a run. I think Ramanan was trying to make it a run, but unfortunately it didn't happen. As we have Larry Babb comes into bat, who was very, very good yesterday, scoring a quick fire 50 of balls and with some massive sixes. Mahindra Nagamutu padded up here, practicing his shots, not only being a very successful test bowler on the international scene, but also a good batsman. As Bab is forward there, just waiting on the ball to come to him. He's not one to muck around. It's if it's go.
And you said it, and here it is. Just over the top, maximum. I'm wondering why that catch was not taken. We're going to have another look at that. But that seemed to have been a sitter. Big one, strong shoulders. I want to believe the sun was in his eyes, so really inhibiting him from taking that catch. It was.
It's 4. The umpire signals 4. So
it fell off his hand into the boundary.
Into the boundary, yeah. And Larry goes again. This time connecting well, and that one goes to 6. I think before the fielder was concerned was to the boundary, being very close to the rope. He probably did not want to touch the rope to give a boundary or 6. But he saved 2 runs by getting it back into the boundary, and then the ball unfortunately rolling for 4 runs.
That observation is right on target. He saved 2 runs. And there are so many super overs that I've had to describe. So it's a solitary run sometimes. That would be important. So very, very keen observation on point that he saved 2 runs, meaning it's important. He saved 2.
Bab is forward there. Already 10 off the over. Larry Babb from Barbados plays a lot of cricket across there. West Indies 47 for 5 after 10 overs. Wild 0 for 11 after 2. 8 of 17 of 5 deliveries. Of 10 of 5 deliveries. All of that was scored by Babb.
Now the projected score was 60 at one stage. It's now gone up to 94. in what I can describe as a so-called recovery, not full-fledged. And the West Indies, in their optimism, might want to say, that's a nice recovery. Quite a long road to go after this to really patch things up. It's like a broken relationship in a marriage. Then you go get a pastor to pray for you. I think we need some of that for the West Indies.
And that's well played by Larry. Just dropping the ball into short cover to get Larry on strike, as we have two Larrys at the wicket, Larry Farnham and Larry Babb. This is what is needed by Farnham, to rotate the strike, give Babb as much strike as possible so he can see a couple of balls, and being the destructive player that he is, it gives him time to free his arms, look at the pitch, look at the ball, and getting as he would figure out how to play to get as much runs as he can. As he strokes that one down to
I noticed you say that after he had struck a couple of boundaries. If he was out for a duck, that statement would not have been made. Down the leg side, did Farnham get hold of this? It's in the air, catch taken, another one bites the dust. 49 now for 5. The West Indies struggling.
And that was a bad delivery. Ball pitching on middle stump, going down the leg side. Farnham trying to hit the ball or pull the ball and just gets a top edge. Not necessary at this stage. You just need to work the ball around. You have 9.4 overs remaining. Get Larry Babb on strike and let him go after the bowling. He's bigger, he's stronger, he can hit the ball out of the boundary, as we saw yesterday. Your role, you need to give him the strike.
And for the kind of orthodox batsman Farnham is, I thought he would have rolled that wrist over. If you're hooking, you've got to keep it on the ground. That one went up in the air. So another one goes, 6 gone. Just 10.3 overs. If that cameraman can have another shot of the manager of the West Indies team to see what the creases on his forehead must be quite pronounced. Here's Mahendra Nagamutu for you. Had the first class record in the West Indies, 370 wickets. And then got into the senior West Indies side. At this time with people like Brian Lara sharing some of the stories last night with us in the hotel.
Not only being an accomplished bowler, Nagamutu, he's a very accomplished batsman. And able to read the game and play the ball around. He can hit a mile. So I think we have a good between Babb and Nagamutu. They can stay in the wicket for the ball. I can see the score going 40 around that region.
The last time you said that and sounded optimistic and a wicket fell for the West Indies, you yourself, not in today's game, but if you keep saying that, I think the West Indies will be out in quite a jiffy. The 50 is up, nevertheless. 51 for 6 in 10 overs. They've got to, all these projections in your mind, you've got to keep changing it and adjusting. And I'm talking here about the final score. Like now, or last evening, the West Indies would have been hoping today they're coming out to get 180. Anything over that, bonus, over 200, excellent. So you've got to make all those changes in your mind now. And to say from 51 for 6, hopefully you'll get to 100.
The player, I've never believed in setting projected scores in your mind at times, simply because situations like this, you come out here and you say, yes guys, we are looking for one good score. To look at the conditions, when you look at the wicket, when you look at the bowlers, when you look at everything that's happening around you, that can change in an instant, as we see here today, where West Indies 6 in 11 overs. So as you say, they now have to figure out what is a good that can be achieved right now with 6 wickets down and some more batters coming into the camp.
You can add another word: recalibrate, recalculate, and now recalibrate as well. New bowler is going to come into contention. They're aware the falling of the wickets took place. 1 for 9, 2 for 10, and the story goes on. Peeling off the bat. Is there anyone? No.
That's good running there by Bob, getting 2 runs, which is what they should have been looking for also. You know, put the ball in the gaps and try to run your singles, your doubles, and get the score ticking over. As Bob gets an inside edge there that was escorted to the boundary for 4 runs by Brandt. In the great words of my good friend Samuel Badri, another fortuitous boundary.
Those guys are not going to take chances plunging around. This is the Over-40 World Cup, just to remind you. So many of these guys could be 50 plus, but they represent their countries with dignity.
Bob is on the back foot there, playing the ball back to the bowler. Edwards, new bowler, off a short run, bowling a little dibbly-dobbly medium pace here. These are the ones that you would think that you can try to hit out the ground, but these are the ones that seem to get most batsmen.
On the lighter side, something was running through my mind as I came and saw the National Stadium and the Sword, and I just kept picturing Shoaib Akhtar running into bowl to me. And if anybody had asked me for a comment, I would have said, Mandela is dead, Gandhi is dead, and I'm not feeling too well myself. And find the earliest exit out of the National Stadium.
I'm not sure Shoaib Akhtar has enough space to run in from here.
Pleasant good morning, Shoaib Akhtar. Pleasant good morning, Wasim Akram, Wakar Yunus. These are some of the players that I described back in the West Indies. They have etched quite an indelible impression on my psyche.
That's well played by Nagamutu, working it to the leg side there for a single. Talk about players of the past. Even in this tournament, we have the likes of Abdul Razak, Shahid Afridi. In 2023, in the ODI, there was Misbah-ul Haq, Mohammad Sami. So the players are still coming out and playing, and this is what we would like in this version of cricket, over 40. As Edward comes in, and his little medium pace there seems to be working well. Larry Babb on his back foot, looking, making sure that he plays the ball as late as possible. Score is now 59 for 6 after 12 overs. Nagamutu on 2. Bab on 19 off of 12 deliveries. Edwards 0 for 8 in his first over. So we have a beautiful picture there of a hawk. I'm not sure what type of hawk it is. In Trinidad, I would call it a chicken hawk, as it resembles that species.
And of course, they like chicken, so chicken hawk. If it was beef, they would call him probably cow hawk. But it's always so nice to see nature in full flight. Back at our hotel, we saw lots of birds, And my country, beautiful Guyana, it's all about the ecosystem there. That's the way Mahendra Nagamutu can play if he wants. But he's got to support Bab. That's the important thing in this equation. Support for Bab. So Bab can spend some time out there and just see how he can reconstruct the West Indies innings after an early collapse.
Well, this is what he needs to do. Doing it quite well. To play his game. When the ball is there for him to hit. When it's there to work around, you get a single. So the score continues to tick over. Less dot balls is better for West Indies.
Mahendra Nagamutu has a first-class century, actually, back in the West Indies domestic tournament. And Bab has played in the T20 tournaments back home in the Caribbean. I tell you, he's very, very strong. He hits that ball. When he miscalculates a shot, he gets 6 runs. We saw that yesterday on 2 occasions. Too hot to handle. Too hot to handle. Matthews actually taking evasive action. You're going to have another look at that. I think he miscalculated that shot. There you go, a bit of feral ferocity and savage brutality injected in that shot.
This is exactly what we're talking about here. There's 4 balls gone. The score off of the over so far is 7 with 3 singles, a boundary, and 2 more deliveries to go. There was not any problems or any issues with taking unnecessary shots or playing unnecessary shots as they continue to rotate the strike. And if they continue to do this, you will see that that run rate or projected score would start to increase. As I said, it goes up to 110 now.
Mahendra might well be advised to keep it flat along the carpet if you want to survive. Another thing is, I've seen Bob going onto the back foot, and you've got to watch that if it keeps a little low to avoid LBWs. But certainly, it's something you have to watch.
We have Nagamutu on strike. Choose in. Well stopped there by Matthews as Nagamutu is able to play that straight back to him. Larry Bab indicating to him that the ball is seeming to get some uneven bounce. Ooh, as Nagamutu tries to go over the long off region there and missing the ball. The ball just goes through to the keeper slowly. So it looks like there was just a change of pace there by Edwards. Projected score now goes down to 108. Nagamutu works the ball to the backward point region there and gets a single. It brings Larry Bab on strike. 25 off of 15. West Indies are 69 for 6 and 13.3 overs. That's a lovely shot there by Harry Babb as he just plays that, gets it to the deep backward square boundary as it rolls along the ground effortlessly for 4 runs. As the over continues, they've gotten 5 runs off of the over so far, with 4 deliveries being bowled. As we said, if they can continue to get about 8 runs and over from here, it will take the projected score up quite reasonably. As Babb stand and delivers as he hits that one over long off for 6, as he waits on the ball, plays it on a up, and the ball just sails over the long off region for 6 runs. Babb moves on to 35 off of 17 deliveries, and just like that, the score off of the over has moved to 11 with 1 delivery. Well bowled by Edwards as he changed the pace on that delivery, forcing Babb to play on his back foot and to wait on the delivery. India's highest.
I like the temperament shown by Babb because he's exclusively an attacking batsman, and to show that kind of temperament where he's blocking up sometimes, showing some respect also, and then accelerating, stepping on the gas occasionally.
Being from Barbados, Mr. Chan, tape is quite prevalently being played across there, and it allows for quick hands as the tape ball, as you know, slides off the surface quite quickly.
Spilling that. That was awful. I guess all the greats back in Australia, you're not liking what you're seeing here.
I think he just tried to chip the ball. If he had gone through the shot, it would have gone for 6. He's quite fortunate there to be dropped. I think the Australians will be thinking, what did we do? As he has been the only one who has shown some aggression and taking.
When you have a side down, as Australia has the West Indies, you got to mark that score that Babb was dropped on, 37, of the bowling of Panelli, because he can come back to be very destructive. And that's the killer instinct that the Australians did not show on that occasion.
Nagamutu trying to work the ball off to the left side, Babb back on strike. 0 for 9 in 1.2 overs. It's a lovely shot by Nagamutu down the ground there for a single. Nagamutu playing the role that he needs to, and I suspect that as the overs continue to move forward, he may become a bit more aggressive, as right now he understands what he needs to do and is doing it quite well.
That may just be sliding down the leg side. If you look at the body language, but I hope he's not injured. He actually is the hope and live wire for the West Indies at this time. That was definitely sliding down the leg side.
I think he missed out on that shot there. If he had gotten anything onto it, he might have been able to get 4 runs down to the fine leg region.
Very good running. That's the kind of cricket. If you're in trouble, that's the kind of cricket. Beautiful. I like to see that. Sharp singles, keep the scoreboard ticking, rotating the right hand, left hand combination. Very, very important.
It shows the versatility of Bob also, being able to play the big shots and rotate the strike. When you have Pinelli who's bowling as well as he is, you need to get as much off of him as you can. There's Nagamutu back to the Pinelli. Score is 83 for 6 in 15 overs. Bob on 38, Nagamutu on 7 of 27 deliveries. It's a good comeback by West Indies from the position that they were in before to get to the score that they are at the moment. I do think that we should see some fireworks coming off in the last 5 overs here. I would want to stick to my original projection of 140. I think that West Indies might be capable of getting to that, which is about 60 runs in 5 overs. If not 140, I think that looking at maybe 130, 120, 130, somewhere around that region. But ideally at this stage, I think that if they can get to 140, it would be a great comeback.
It will be, because of the early falling of wickets. Just look at Pinelli's bowling there. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Quite a pattern.
I think he's recode there.
Well, these guys are getting pretty big now, so not being able to scuttle around, slide on the turf, stop it. But they've had their time also many years ago, I guess. Now this guy, Stephen Paulson, last night we called him Steve Smith. Has a striking resemblance actually of Steve Smith.
I think he said that might have been his idol as he's bowling the leg break that Smith also.
I think I heard also that he played in the Big Bash.
Oh my word, Larry Bob. That one has gone all the way for 6. That's a big shot. So 91 for 6. And this is what we expect of Larry, who is now on 46.
Big, strong hitter of the ball. But last night they... Just come back to that in a minute. That one kept a little low based on the body language of the batsman. But the Australians are in the same hotel with us, Davey, and they were all taunting and making jokes with the West Indies side. Gets it on the inner part of the bat.
Still gets a single as he keeps the score ticking over. Off of the over at the moment, 9 runs. Paulson coming in, trying to stem the flow of runs. But Larry Bob has other things on his mind. As Nagamutu is now on strike, let's see what he's going to... Just going to try to rotate. Give Larry the strike. That's beautifully played off of the hips there by Nagamutu, showing his versatility as a batsman, playing off the back foot, working the ball down the leg side to get a single, adding one more to the score, getting 10 runs off of the over, bringing the score up to 93 for 6 with 4 overs remaining. Mr. Chan.
That shot from Mahendra Nagamutu, I suddenly remembered how well Lara would play that, and especially those years that I had the golden opportunity. Now that I look back, some of the members of the Australian squad, these are definitely spectators, I think. But how well Lara would jab it off the hip, actually square of the wicket and get 6 off of the fastest bowlers in the world. My word.
Had the opportunity in a couple of games, and I would always stand at the other end, the non-strikers, and look at him in amazement at how easily and effortlessly he used to make it look by batting, and the way he worked the ball and the way to do it quite easily. And I always wondered what it would have been like in his younger years.
Wide signal by the umpire, and it's going to go all the way. That should be wides.
That's the first miss of the keeper there. West Indies would be happy for that, having 5 wides with the first ball of the over being bowled, but going. They still have 6 deliveries to go.
A little airborne, and that's what I was talking about, alluding to earlier on. Mahendra would be happier if he placed them along the carpet. It could be dangerous, can end up in someone's hand, and that's what the Australians are playing for. I've seen the aggression shown by the captain has really withered away a little bit. Used to have a slip maybe. That's gone because Bab has dictated that that should happen. 99 for 6. There comes the 100 for the West Indies. Marvellous recovery, I think. They have done extremely well. This is over number 17, so they've got 3 more. And you were hoping or predicting somewhere in the vicinity of 140. If they get there, maybe 150 will be excellent. With Bab still around, those are all possibilities.
And that's a 50 for Bab. Well played 50 off of 20. Today, he also made a 61 off of 23 deliveries, I think. And he has come again and saved the West Indies team in the middle order as there was a so at the top of the order.
That innings, he had 6 sixes and 3 fours.
It's a lovely flick off of the pads there by Nagamutu. Quite easily getting another 4 runs in this over. This over seems to be going in the West Indies' favour. As the score goes on to 106 for 6. The projected score, I think I saw it was 132 or 134. Oh, well stopped there by Brandt as Nagamutu tried to just play that one to the long off region to get a single to get Larry Bab back on strike. As there's one more ball in the over. Oh, that's a lovely shot as Nagamutu plays that straight along the ground again. As he retains the strike for the next over, West Indies are 107 for 6. 17 overs gone. Nagamutu on 14, Bab on 50. Partnership of 58 of 39 deliveries. This has saved West Indies so far, as we see the batsmen are just taking a drink, rehydrating as best as they can. Projected score showing 126 at the moment. I do believe that I will stick to my projection, Mr. Chan, of 140.
Well, it seems a practical projection. So I'm not hearing that you're hoping because you have on the West Indies clothes. It's actually practical to look at that. I think once Bab stays around there, lingers around, that is going to happen. And I admire the innings Mahendra is playing as well, to give absolute support.
Well, having that international experience, he understands different roles that are given. Ooh, and there he goes, trying to sweep. Comes off of the pad, gets a single, puts Bab on strike, which is what he wanted to do. There was a loud appeal by Paulson, but I think that ball might have pitched outside the line of the leg stump. So negating the LBW decision. Wide ball by Paulson. I think he's trying to attack Bab on his pads and not give him any room to free his arms.
Nice little comeback there from Paulson. But he's had quite a few spilling away down the leg side. Something that his lookalike Steve Smith would not like to look at again. Good morning to all Australia. If you're just getting our telecast. Nice, brilliant sunshine.
Nagamutu plays that straight back to Paulson, who drops the catch.
I think that's the second catch going down. There was another one off Bab. He was dropped on 37 off the bowling of Pinelli. It's something you don't associate Australia with. Even the name, you know what kind of feeling, what kind of batting, what kind of cricket they play. They're serious guys.
At the end of the day, Mr. Chan, we are all human. And we have that human element in us where we strive for excellence, but sometimes we may falter.
Bab. Boom. It's gone. Straight out of the ground. Just dropping inside of that rope.
The umpire signals for, again, Bab just stands and waits and decides he's just going to go through the line of the ball, and that's what he's looking. By Paul. Bab is reading the deliveries.
He also looks as though he's imitating the majestic and legend Shane Warne, God rest his soul. End of the over, 18 gone, 115 for 6.
West Indies have done well in 7 runs, so the ball to run ratio staying one score is 115 for 6. I'll still hold strong to my 140, Mr. Chan.
Just look at that run rate. It has moved from 3 to 4 to 4 point something. It's gone all the way quite nicely, accelerating and ascending. So Nagamutu he knows he's got 2 overs left. He knows also that the strike must be handed over with a handshake to Bab as early as possible.
Or do you think that he might try to free his hands also in the last 2 overs? And I think I read that right.
If he's going to free it, from a cricketing perspective, he would have to make contact. But Mahendra has done that on so many occasions for his home country in the first-class domestic season. And he's quite the live wire in the West Indies camp. He just laughs all the time. Sometimes I laugh by looking at him laugh without him sharing a joke.
That is the aura of the person. As he gets the single, as he hands the strike over to Bab, we can only hope that Bab can maybe get a couple of 4s or maybe 1 or 2 6s in this last 4 deliveries here by Nelly.
So I mentioned earlier on, it's good to make a little note when someone as aggressive as Bab, when you drop him. And this is one of the reasons. He was dropped on 37. Now look what is happening. He's gone on to 54. That should be 60 now with that 6.
That's a beautiful shot there as he's waiting on the ball and just playing through the line of it. I think he understands the pitch. I think he's gotten the timing of it as discussed earlier. And he can just play his natural game now. Oh, Bab, what have you done? That's a soft delivery to get out there, my brother.
Yeah, just coming off the top edge. He's had a good knock. He's helped the West Indies recover from absolute tragedy. And he's helped to move that score to 122. Good knock.
I think he just tried to work that down to the fine leg region and got too much bat on it. And the ball ending up just ballooning in the air, being taken in the backward square region. But a great knock by Larry Bab, 60 off of 32 deliveries, breathing some life into West Indies, giving them a potential total of close to 140 where their bowlers can come out and try to defend that total.
In other words, put a little shot of adrenaline or steroid in their pep in their step. What would it have looked like if Bab did not score or he got out at 37 when that catch was dropped? And I've seen this on so many occasions. That's why I make a note. If you have a prolific batsman at the crease, at any level of cricket, and they get a chance, I jot it down when they were dropped, because that batsman can come back to give a performance that haunts you in the end.
Well, again, I'm glad that I don't have to wonder what it would have looked like if he was taken at that point in time. And in comes Rajapuran, also known for hitting the ball. So let's see what he can do. This is his first knock in Karachi. I think now what Pura needs to do is, yes, if the ball is in his zone, go after it, but try to give Nagamutu as much strike as possible. As he has been in there, he understands the pitch and he can try to take on the bowling a lot better than Puran, who may need a couple of deliveries to get a feel of what is happening.
Inside out. It's not going to get towards the boundary. Nagamutu hoisting that. Now there's an appeal, run out. Now how could that happen when you hit the ball 3/4 of a way to the boundary and get run out?
I believe it was a direct throw, and that's what got him. But again, pushing for the second. Oh no, he just couldn't make it in time. But at this stage, they need to push and run the twos And Nagamutu trying to get back on strike to face as much deliveries as he can. West Indies are 124 for 8 after 19 overs. Nagamutu 16 off 22, Puran 1 off 1. Can they muster up that 140? It's not looking like we may get there, Mr. Chan.
Well, it's anybody's guess, I guess. 17 off 23. Nice little display of batsmanship, because he really supported Bab in the comeback effort. So you've got to give him some credit. And of course, most, if not all, of the other portion of credit you'll have to give to Australia. They have really fought on. They've dug into the West Indies batting lineup early. And just there was that little recovery that fainted a little bit the energy that the Australians had put into their fight. Zamin, one of the most experienced batters in the West Indies side, also represented Guyana at the under 19 in the Caribbean. I understand he also captained the USA. So he's loaded with experience, and so is Mark Cleary. Let's see who wins this.
Zamin is the tight. The only player over 40 stays at international level. As he searches for that one there. I think why I was thinking that 140 might have still been a good score to defend is that Australia played Pakistan here yesterday and they made 154, and Pakistan made it, but in 19 overs. So it shows that it's not as easy to just run over a team here. That's a beautiful shot by the experienced Zamin Amin as he plays it late through the backward point region, splitting the two fielders there and getting 4 valuable runs for West Indies.
Beautiful. They actually need every single run that comes off, whether it comes off the bat or not. Every run, whether it's extras, buys. Slower ball. Nice bowling here from Cleary. He's been doing that a few times, I noticed, and practically was confusing the batsman on every single occasion.
Played that quite late. Actually got a single off of it, so well played by Zamin coming out there and Puran goes down the wicket and gets.
Well, he's not had a chance yesterday to bat. He was coming today at the National Stadium hoping to get some batting. Just coming down a bit late, so not getting and the time is not available. So just remember, this is not the Puran out of Trinidad and Tobago. He's left-handed. This is Raja Puran from Guyana.
Having no choice but to go after the bowling here in the last over. He's trying his best to get down there and take on the bowling as much as he could. It's always a difficult proposition to come out and just start to hit the ball immediately. As we have Metal Hauser coming in. Bowler quite well today. Let's see what he can do with the bat today. Maybe he can still give me a 6. Bring the score to 136. I would be happy with that.
He's out of the British Virgin Islands, getting into the over-40s squad for the West Indies. Not with that kind of shot. You wouldn't get to 131 perhaps.
And that's the end of the innings there for Over-40s as they close on 130 for 9. 10 runs short. They should have been. Zaman a quick fire 5 off of 3 deliveries. Clary 4. So Australia, I think, would be happy to West Indies to a total of 130, so they can go out there and they can play quite easily and freely, being just over 6 runs and over.
And that's the batting for you for the West Indies, losing the toss but batting first, and kind of paltry scores, just 60 from the bat of Larry Bob and 17 Mahendra Nagamutu, 16 from Richard Latif. So it's not a healthy looking scoreboard, but they've had their full 20 overs, 130 for the loss of 9. And of course the bowling figures for you here. Wickets taken by Brandt and Cleary. 2 apiece, 1 for Panelli, and a catch was dropped off his bowling. Larry Bob, who was dropped at 37, came back to have a good score of 60. So those, well, the wicket takers, the fall of wickets quite down at the bottom. Extras, very important, 13. That's a good score for the West Indies. Actually third in line. So that's a story from the National Stadium here at Karachi in Pakistan. Excellent work from our technical boys. One of them looks as though he's just out of the cradle, and his mom's breast milk still lingering on his lips there. Right, Naeem Chan on behalf of Devendra Maharaj, bringing you ball-by-ball commentaries this morning. And we're going to be coming back in just a while to rejoin you.
T1, as we have Mittelhauser opening the bowling for West Indies. He bowled well yesterday, taking the crucial wicket of, I cannot remember the name of the guy who was scoring all the runs for USA. Scored 70-something runs off of about 5 overs. Oh, and that's it, a wicket there for Mittelhauser, as the batsman Knottle has played onto the stump there. West Indies striking early at the second ball of their innings. Oh, a bit of swing there for Mittelhauser as we look at that replay. Wonderful start to West Indies. This will definitely bring up their hopes of defending the target of 130. We have the new batsman, Wild, spelt W-Y-L-D. As he faced Mittelhauser, who just got an inside edge to get his first wicket against Australia.
Beautiful Mittelhauser out of the British Virgin Islands, playing for the West Indies. Good deliveries, a very good seamer. Yesterday I looked at him very carefully. He gets it to nip. Very steady, very constant.
It's a beautiful delivery there, pitching on and about middle and off stump and beating the batsman, going away from him. Well bowled again by Mittelhauser, working that middle stump line, forcing the batsman to play as the ball is going away from the left-handed batsman. Wild. As we have Jalil. It's an unusual name for Australian, Mr. Chan.
Absolutely. I wonder if they sneaked him out of India. Used to have the school cricket back in my countryside, and there's a particular commentator who was a teacher. Let me not call his name. And he would go around the schools and sneak cricketers out and take them to his school, and athletes. Down the ground, stamping his authority there. I didn't mean anything derogatory, Mr. Jalil, when I spoke that about you. So he's seeking revenge off the West Indies bowling.
Mittelhauser just going up a little too much. Jalil adjusting, coming down the wicket and playing him straight back, which is not a bad thing for a opening bowler that moves the ball around a bit. Anything that he can get nipping away from him can create some problems.
Now that's premeditated sort of. Didn't expect that from Jalil. You need to get on and win the game, and that's the utmost important thing. First over gone, 5 for the loss of 1.
West Indies starting with a spinner. On the other end, Mittelhauser getting away first over. We have last 999. Let's see what he can do here. The screws on Australia, preventing them from off to an aggressive start.
I was wondering whether Farnham, the West Indies captain, would have wanted, like how you have the Australians just in a marginal way, with being on the back foot because they've lost an early wicket. Whether you'd want Mahendra Nagamutu to just get in here and continue the pressure in this power play. It's very important that you don't lose your hand here, and I'm talking about a West Indian perspective, and that you keep it as tight as possible. So Farnham is hoping that Lal can do that for him and just keep that pressure on the Australians. If you've got somebody with their foot or their backs against the wall, even if it's in a temporary way, you have to have that killer instinct. And just to continue to apply that pressure, maybe a close-up fielder.
Lal comes into bowl. I'm not sure if he's trying to spin the ball or just skid the ball off of the wicket here. I think that they may not bring in Nagamutu early into the attack, as the move is important. I feel as though he might be on to control overs. Hence, they're not bringing him in at this point in time. Lal a bit short there and pounced on by Jalil, who has gotten that boundary to backward square for 4. They have to be very careful, because if you're bowling straight, you need to have your protection on the leg side. And I'm not sure that is what Farnham would want Lal to be, as he does not seem to have the protection on the leg side, but more on the offside. There we go. As he has changed his line, bowling just outside off stump now, forcing the batsman to play to the point region. Run. And a replica of the shot played before to the man in short cover this time. And Lal has gotten away with just getting one boundary off of that over. The score is now 10 for 1 in 2 overs. Mittelhauser and Lal getting 5 runs in each of the overs. It's not too bad at this point in time. The game has just started with 1 wicket already in the pockets of West Indies. We're hoping to, in the power play, get two, maybe 3 more wickets, which would set this game up really nicely to finish the same way that they finished against Pakistan yesterday, where the game finished in 19 overs, chasing 154. Pakistan being the winner of that game.
While it looks pretty nice, compact and composed, nice flowing arms there. So it's all about the Australians know exactly what they want. They can tailor their innings because they're chasing. It's whether the West Indies can make further inroads to put the Australians under pressure. 6.56 is not exactly a big asking rate in a T20 game.
We have Mittelhauser now attacking the middle stump as he did in the first over. A bit too wide. Delivery before, which was pounced on by Wild, getting a boundary.
Now there we are, a solitary slip. You've got somebody under some pressure. Pulled away, that's found a gap. Right away down towards the boundary for 4. Here the signal comes from the umpire. Just a trifle short there, he just pounded it. And this is the result if you're going to try to do that. Now let me have those deliveries straight up, attacking the stumps.
Mittelhauser losing the plot a little bit there. Too short. He's getting movement with the ball into the right-handed batsman. So it made it very easy for him to just swivel and play that ball behind backward square.
On the edge, bad feeling. So they've got to, the West Indies would have to keep this as tight as possible. It's not a lot of runs that they had posted. So you need to be as sharp as possible. And the cardinal sins not to commit. Overthrows, wides and no balls, get a lot of dot balls. But those are things in this version of the game and format. Just that solitary run can bring the difference.
As Mittelhauser again pitching on about Awesome, moving the ball away from Wild, left-handed batsman, trying to open the face, misses it. I think he has the plot against Wild correct. It's just if he can execute for the next couple of deliveries or the next delivery.
End of over number 3, 21 for the loss of 1. Matty holds 1 for 16. Got the first wicket. Beautiful stands here at the National Stadium, Karachi National Stadium. The Australians looking with not any kind of sigh of perplexity on their faces. They're all kind of comfortable. They think that overhauling that target 131 should not be very hard for them. So it's not utilizing maybe the best of your bowlers. In this case, Mahendra Nagamute has got that experience. So if these bowlers can just keep that power play down, quite an unorthodox looking shot. I think he was caught in two minds at the last moment, whether or not to go for a full-blooded drive. Just gauging the direction of the delivery, ending up on the one leg on the ground. Beautiful outfield as well. Nice little wind coming across the Karachi National Stadium. Absolutely brilliant sunshine.
With that sunshine, all the dew that was there earlier this morning has now disappeared, which should be a benefit to the West Indies bowlers because they would have a drier ball to work with compared to the Australians who had a ball that was absorbing the water as it ran along the ground.
causing a wet seam, which would allow spinners to not be able to grip the ball properly.
Just look at that asking run rate. Just climbing a little more. It's gone closer to 7 now.
But even at 7 runs and over, it's you would want to bet on the batting team.
Down the leg side. Now Lal is just losing it here. Straying down the leg side, swept away. Yes, nice shot there from Jalil. Jalil looks like the batsman is not very tolerant of bad balls. He's going to try to put them away.
And again, this is where West Indies tend to give it away. You bowl 4 balls, you get 1 run off your first delivery, then 3 dot balls, and then you stray from your plan of bowling off stump. And you start to bowl closer to the batsman, trying to get his wicket, and only succeed in getting 4 runs.
That's going to do the confidence of the Australians a lot of good. Cracked away. Nice shot there. Jalil is on the go. Not wasting any time. Look at that. Brilliant shot. Along the ground. Absolutely safe. 4 runs. Inching on with that total. Just over 100 now short. 4 overs gone. 30 for 1.
As we have a change of bowling, we have Atwell coming on as Mettelhauser comes off the attack, bowling 2 overs. They're keeping him back for either the middle or the end.
Atwell has been brought on. Mettelholzer, in straight language, I think he's possibly the most impressive of the West Indian bowlers. Seamer. And that's a half-hearted appeal. And umpires know that a lot of players, they bark their appeal sometimes, consistently, constantly, harping on the umpire, which can border on illegality, actually, at the international level. But it's a way of putting pressure on the umpire to see if they can squeeze a bad decision out of him. Many of those umpires are really in charge of the game and they know their stuff. They're not going to be bullied.
I don't think it's intentional intimidation, but I think it's more of persistent aggression.
I see you're looking for words there. You came close to it. Close to bullseye. Shane Warne loved to do that. He goes down on his knees as though he's begging. And looks up at the umpire with intensity in his eyes. Over the top. Ah, beautiful shot. Look at that. Jalil on the hop. Picking it up there straight into that sweet spot.
As we say back in Trinidad, you don't put it up in the gun because it'll go. And that's exactly what Jalil did as he moves on to 27 from 16 deliveries, while 10 from 10. Atwell again pulling it back a little bit, but Jalil plays a lovely shot where he dissects the point region with the two players that were there and was able to get a boundary. West Indies are in a spot of bother here. They're first to 6 and a 4. 11 runs off of the over thus far, 1 ball remaining. Australia 41 for 1.
Just to remind you that they've got tomorrow there will be no matches. This is today's 2 games. Trying to paddle sweep there, not making contact. So I think that's going to be a leg bye. Let's see if the umpire will give us that indication. So tomorrow is Davies, the opening ceremony. End of the 5th over there, by the way. 42 for 1. So the opening ceremony takes place tomorrow, where all the 12 teams from the 12 countries will be. I think that's the governor's backyard or state house, if you like. And they're going to be treated, the teams. They've been collecting their kits. And I just want to publicly say thank you, Pakistan, for the hospitality we've received. I think this has been nothing short of brilliant. Bulletproof vehicles, outriders, military men surrounding your hospital, keeping you safe and sound. I don't think there's much more we can ask for. And the food has been brilliant. And the people of Pakistan, they seem to greet you and over-greet you. For a second and a third time, every time you pass, there's someone beckoning and saying, "Good morning, sir," you know.
There's always a smile on their face also, and that's something that you don't see in a lot of places. As momentarily there was the Pakistan team coming in, the national team, national over 40 team, that is. I think I'm not sure if there's a game after or if they're coming to do a bit of practice.
I think there's a second game after this one, going into the afternoon period. And the timings, I can't communicate with people back home. I don't know what day it is, what year it is, actually. Struck down the ground. So when you're talking with someone home, it's like, greetings, welcome to 2026. That's a jet lag. It has been awful. 3:20 a.m. in the Caribbean.
Yes. As you were talking about Nagamutu, he's on the attack now. Brought in after 5 overs. West Indies having to try to get a wicket. They've brought in the most experienced bowler in Mahindra Nagamutu, Nagas as they call him, the number 370 on his back. That's the amount of wickets, I believe, is it first class wickets that he has. So he proudly wears that on his back. Once the holder or the record holder of having the most first class wickets as an individual. Unfortunately, it has been taken over by Imran Khan of Trinidad and Tobago, who has 400 and something wickets. It's a lovely shot there by Jalil. Through the point region, through extra cover region for 4 runs.
Just look at Jalil. He's so composed, elegant, beautiful drive.
It's well played again. Misfielded apparently. I see Jalil's first name. The name he has on his jersey is Nasir. So he seems to be of a...
Smuggled out of Pakistan, maybe,
Yeah.
many years ago. I see that there's several other teams who have got players originating not from the home country, like New Zealand, England. You have them settling down, migrating. That's the first over there from Mahendra. 8 runs taken off after 6. The 50 has come up for Australia for the loss of 150.
This is the start that West Indies would have hoped to had. 50 runs off of the 6 overs, losing 1 wicket. As we can see from the equation, 81 needed from 84 balls. West Indies need to be able to stitch together a couple of overs where it goes for maybe less than 3 runs an over to give themselves a chance to put some pressure on the Australian batsmen to try and be able to force them to play some shots, therefore trying to get some wickets so that they might be able to win this game.
I guess there's someone down there, yes. But I was waiting to hear the word wickets because, as in the case of Australia here, you have the West Indies with almost, the West Indies have the Australians requiring almost a run a ball. They have 9 wickets standing. The only chance you stand, and that's the operative word, you've got to get wickets here.
In T20 cricket, dot balls, the more you can force dot balls, that is like a wicket. And it now forces the opposing team, Australia, to try to get runs where they might not be able to, thus forcing an error, thus getting a wicket.
Yes, inducing that error, luring. In some cases, you might want to say, and that's like the school days, wooing the batsman.
As we would say, trying to buy a wicket.
If you're talking about a woman, you don't buy them, huh? Wives? Yeah,
No, no, they take all your money. Jalil, 39 of 25. I'm looking at what the bowlers are bowling, in particular Atwell, and I'm wondering if there's too much pace being put on the ball. Should they try to bowl a bit slower, forcing the Australian batsmen to play the ball? There we see him pitching up, a nice pitch up delivery there, down to the long off region, as Wild gets a single. Was not a bad over from Atwell. 4 runs coming from it, 5 runs coming from it.
Great partnership also. I think that's 50 I saw on the board a short while ago. So the current run rate has gone up significantly. So you've got 7.86 now. So the required run rate drops below 6. It's a TN Visions production. I'm so happy to be a part of that. We've got some very accommodating young Pakistani people carrying on the broadcast. Quite a privilege to be sitting in the commentary box all the way in Karachi. It took us a year to get here, it seems.
Well bowled by Nagamutu, while trying to just guide that ball down to the 3rd man region, missing. That's well bowled again by Nagamutu, attacking the stumps while playing across the line, trying to get it away. Was able to get a single. It took us a while to get there. I left New York with a clean-shaven face, and I came to Pakistan and I had a full beard.
Many would have thought you probably came out of prison. Escapee? Mahendra's been using the flipper, sometimes the googly, and you can see the effect on Jalil's body language, because he has been very composed, easily the best looking batsman out there. But even against Nagamutu, he's more like temporary or just hesitant.
I think it's because the name also carries a lot of weight, in that being an international player playing for West Indies, having played numerous tests, he knows that he would have experience in his bowling. So it's not just somebody that you can beat all over the ground. Likewise, as we say, he's playing a forward defensive shot there to Nagamutu. Nagamutu pulling back the length a little bit, forcing him to come forward. Again, a dot ball there. Jalil is trying to get Nagamutu off of the square, but he has been unable to. That's a good over there by Nagamutu. Only 3 runs coming off of it. Score is 58 for 1 after 8 overs. Jalil on 41 and Wild on 16.
Well, the Australians, as you can see there, were not basking in the sunshine of Karachi, but in the cool shade of Karachi. They seem pretty comfortable. Yeah, look at them. And they know that 58 for 1, asking to get their 131 to win this game, it's not much of an asking, and it's very important, and maybe that's why they're in comfort zone. It's important not to lose more wickets. And once you keep those wickets intact, whether it's a runner ball or what, it's going to be far easier.
Agreed. Wickets in hand is always a positive for any team coming down to the end of an innings where you can explode. Knowing that you have 6-7 wickets in hand, it allows you the freedom to be able to exploit the bowling and get as much as you can off of it. As we have Zamin Amin into the attack now. Zamin is a left arm.
He's pretty windy. He's giving it a lot of air. And what he's going to be hoping for, and that's quite an uphill task, he's going to try to lure the batsmen, deceive them in the air. Whether he can do that successfully, it'll be a plus. And if he can hold the Australians, you can't get the wickets. If you can hold them and keep that scoring rate down.
Well, this is exactly what I was asking for when Atwell was bowling, where I was wondering if Atwell was putting too much pace on the ball. And here we have Zamin Amin coming in and looping the ball, asking the Australians to go after him, trying to induce them to a false hit, and probably getting an edge and a stumping.
Well, who says that T20 cricket, you can't flight the ball too much? It's all about spinning it off the pitch into the stumps, like Rashid Khan and all those glorious international stars. Well, look at that. Deceiving the batsman. That's what the doctor ordered.
There's a lovely piece of stumping by Asif Chan behind the wicket. But again, this is what I was asking for earlier. The Australian seems quite comfortable playing the pace on the ball, playing the pacey deliveries, working it and getting the boundaries off of it. Why not try something different? Slow it up a little bit. Let's see what they do, how they react, if they're going to go after it. And exactly what I was saying, while chipped and missed because of the lack of pace of the delivery that Zamin Amin came in to bowl.
At this stage, Australia 60 for 2. The West Indies 36 for 4 comparatively. So the Australians are pretty well set. It's keeping those wickets intact, and Sean Matthews knows that. Occupation of the crease and just gently turning around rotating that strike and getting a single here or there, you're home. You know, you're home. Because the target is 131, and they've got 9 overs will be completed here. So you've got 11 more overs. So game is on with an advantage to the batting side. This pitch, Devi, is pretty placid and smooth. 71 runs required from 69. So it's all about just staying out there, occupy the crease, tickle it around the corner, and get that single. I like the energy that I'm seeing in the West Indian players, in their actions and body language, their movement. They've been up and about.
And that was Atwell diving to stop that delivery there of Zamin Amin. And Zamin Amin continues to float, give the ball some air, as we say, forcing the Australian batsman to get behind the ball and try to nudge, or try to get to the ball and power the ball.
Beautiful, beautiful bowling here from Zamin Amin, the most experienced there in that squad. Look at that, deceived, all ends up.
Getting a little bit of bounce and turn there, Zamin Amin. I think that is what saved the batsman there. Probably hitting a little bit too high. And here we have Atwell coming back to bowl, who's going to be a bit more pacier than Zamin Amin. Let's see how the Australians react now to Atwell. Zamin getting a wicket in his first over. Measly 2 runs given from it. This is what we need. Stitch together a couple of overs that puts the Australians under some pressure, where they are now forced to play more aggressive shots and then induce some false strokes.
Yes, of course, that's if you can't get the wickets. If you can't get that, let that asking rate keep climbing. That's all. Now, they have taken off Mahendra Nagamutu, coming back at the later stages, the back end perhaps. So it's finding that pair of bowlers now that can actually stagnate the scoring rate of the Australians. If you get a wicket, that's a bonus.
And Atwell seems to be taking a page off of Zamin Amin books. He's floating the ball a little more, giving it a little more air, bowling a little slower. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Let the Australian batsmen come to the ball, or they have to now try to put power onto the ball to hit the boundaries. It's well bowled by Atwell again. Completely different from when he first started. He had a lot more pace on the ball. Now he's actually giving it a little bit of loop, which might actually help the ball turn a little bit more.
Now this is an intense battle, evolving outside there. So it would be nice to see a couple of boundaries, Australia wins the battle. A wicket or two, or dot balls, you start to put the batting side under a little bit of pressure. So as it is now, I like to think Australia is in the driving seat. He was in like 3-4 different minds there, Matthews. Wanted to cut, wanted to pull, wanted to drive, wanted to defend. Reminds me a little bit of Courtney Walsh there.
And he just managed to get the bat down in time because he still didn't know what to do with the ball.
But the spin has definitely brought a positive impact on the Australians' batting. It is really they're not responding exactly nicely to the spin. It's not a composed, elegant, brutal looking shot. They've all just stood back since the spin of Atwell and Zamin Amin. Good over. Three overs there for Zamin. He's gotten 1 for 2. That he's coming back in now. So let's see what plays out here.
I think at some point the Australians will start to go after him. And this is where his experience would come in, of knowing when to bowl a slightly quicker one, when to bowl the slower one, when to adjust his lines just outside off or just on the middle stump. So experience is key from Zamin Amin here. And I think that if he can bowl 4 tight overs, 3 more overs that is, he would give West Indies a minute chance of fighting the game till the end.
There's no one down there. That was too short. And Matthews having 1 day, 10 hours, 15 minutes and 20 seconds to get back inside and pull it down the leg side. Loose one. But he's quite fortunate, Zamin, because he's coming to bowl at a time. 10 overs are gone. You have the luxury of putting some men outside for the big shot.
That's quite a shout there from Zamin Amin. The batsman going across his stump. If we can see that replay again, I think we should have a better view. Ooh. Pretty close. Oh, this time he's gone. And Zamin Amin, with his experience, has struck again, taking the wicket of Matthews. Matthews not too sure what he wanted to do, so much going through his mind. Unfortunately, getting hit in front of the wicket and being sent there. LBW.
Even the first one was pretty close. He was hobbling back onto his stump. So that was pretty close. And we saw the animated body language of Zamin in that appeal. Was not successful. Just came back afterwards and got him.
As Matthews goes for 8 off of 10 deliveries. Zamin Amin strikes again. Just showing that age is just a number and experience is forever. As the new batsman is coming in, Edwards. Jalil still there, 44 of 32. Zamin Amin. We have Edwards facing up to Zamin. Zamin floats that one outside off stump giving the batsman a little too much room to free his hands. And Edwards pounced on it there and driving through cover. 4 runs as he faces first delivery. That's a gem of a delivery to get to the first ball of your innings. Half volley outside the off stump. Edwards on his back foot there. And brute force punching that ball past the long off fielder there for 4 runs. Zamin going for 3 fours in this over, as the Australians have decided that they're going to attack and not let Zamin get to them. Let's see how Zamin responds here now, having been hit for 2 back-to-back fours. Is he going to float it again, or is he going to add a little bit of pace onto the ball? And as I suspected, a little more pace was going to be added to that delivery, hitting the batsman on his pads, but going down the leg side. And the battle continues. Australia 78 for 3 after 11 overs. Jalil 44 of 32. Edwards 8 of 3. At this stage, Australia is 78 for 3. West Indies were 51 for 6. So if you were a betting man, the numbers would tell you that Australia are on top and are the ones that should finish this game. But this is cricket. And in cricket, anything can happen. You lose a couple of wickets and the game changes almost immediately.
Down the ground, just out of the reach. Nice effort there.
As we have Ramanan now coming on the attack, and ball just measuring the fielder on the boundary. Would have been an amazing catch if he had taken it. Would have been great for West Indies, but Jalil now moves on to 50 with that shot.
We see a few of those catches taken in the IPL. It's such a sight to behold.
Those guys practice those catches where they stand on the boundary line and they try to catch and flick it back. So it's not easy for the over 40 guys to stay outside and on the line and try to do it without any practice at all.
Without 911 being requested. Jalil has been very impressive, hasn't he? 51 in 34. And what I like about his innings is that he has tempered it and he's tailoring. You can see the distinct ability of Jalil to really navigate his way to take Australia to victory.
And that's a bad ball by Ramnanan there. Short ball on the middle stump. No pace on it. And it was just helped along its way for 6 runs over the mid-wicket boundary. Yeah, Jalil has been the mainstay of the Australian batting attack, where he has mixed his aggression with the ability to rotate the strike, which is what you want in any batsman, to have the ability to pick when to be aggressive and to rotate the strike when the bowling is tight. With that being said, West Indies had that in Larry Babb, where he was the one who was able to be aggressive and rotate the strike at the same time. Well bowled by Ramanan. Just outside the off stump there. Batsman trying to hoik it over the mid-wicket boundary. Not making any contact. Taken by Chan behind the wicket.
Plenty air, maybe too much, and pushing it up too much towards the batsman. Now, everything is getting a little out of hand here for the West Indies. Approaching that 100 mark, Australia. 1-3-1 to win this game. If you joined us late, the Australians won the toss, had the West Indies take first strike, and they were in all sorts of disarray until Babb came in with a brilliant knock, supported by Mahendra Nagamutu. Trifle short. Trifle short. Tugged away down the leg side. We have not seen, Davy, we've not seen Bab bowl. I know he was off the field for a short while. He's back on. Not sure what the matter is, but I think you would have to utilize your best bowlers because it's getting out of hand. 32 now, required excess balls now available. So you'd have to bring back the people to put an instant stop if they can in that aggression mode that the Australians have found themselves in. And that means Bab, it means Mahendra, it means Metal Holzer.
Definitely, you need to have your best bowlers on the attack now. Maybe you should have had them on the attack 2 overs ago. But as you're saying, yeah, we need, you have Metal Hauser, you have Nagamutu, you have Bab. What is the point of keeping them back when you need them at this point in time?
Obviously, because the Australians are headed in quite a brilliant way towards victory. So Zamin has been doing quite a good job, 2 for 14. But after then, you expect to see that Seema in Metal Holzer, Mahendra, Nagamutu, because victory is not far away. This is tugged away down towards long on. So you've got to put a check, if you like, on the progression in a swift way, that is, that the Australians are headed. Because victory is around the corner, so you don't want, you have a little space available to you to put a stop to this mass aggression.
I'm surprised they brought back Zamin to bowl. I thought they might have tried Nagamutu for one more, seeing that he has about 2 overs remaining. As that's 6 runs for Edwards. Edwards has come out and he has gotten 28 off of 7 deliveries. And he has actually broken the back of the West Indies at the moment.
But look how things have changed almost dramatically, because a few wickets had fallen and the West Indies were fighting to keep a runner ball available to Australia. Now it's out of hand. Is that a stumping? Yes, it is. I'm not sure.
We have the
But the bails are off. Bold. I'm not exactly sure what, if it ricocheted off the wicketkeeper's glove. It did, yes. Yes. So it's bold.
And that's Zamin has come back with a beautiful delivery that has bowled Edwards. He's bowled. Did they ask for the review?
Edwards is still there. We've been looking at this replay and it all seems as though the ball struck the stumps. But he's still there.
There's Larry Babb sticking out his size 13 booth to stop that delivery. I'm not sure what happened there just now. I don't know if the umpires asked for clarification from the replay or if they made that decision on the field.
That's gone. That's gone. Edwards on a revenge course. Again, Zamin is pretty slow too in the air, so these are strong, hard hitters of the ball. Edwards is racing away. He's on fire.
As it normally happens in cricket, when you drop a catch, you get hit for a 6 or for the next ball. In this case, he was bowled, according to the review on the cameras, and Zamin is taking the brunt of that. And that one has gone for 4 also. And the Australians are cruising to victory here now, as they've decided to take on the West Indian bowlers here in the last couple of overs. Australia now requires 13 runs off of 42 balls. The score is 118 for 3 after 13 overs. Jalil on 52, Edwards on 40 off of 12. So he has broken the back of the West Indies, where West Indies were fighting to keep the score to a run a ball. And Edwards has come in and completely taken over and has bullied the ball around the park, scoring 40 off of 12 deliveries, which is the crucial factor of Australia progressing the score to win the game.
Well, 13 runs required. I guess, Davindra, if you have work to do and pack your bag, you can probably ask for leave. So it's good that they have had these teams are getting practice matches to get them in shape, whip them in shape. And of course the Pakistanis are at home, so they're pretty much more in comfort zone. Well, if it's not happening one way, it's going to happen the other way.
As Nagamutu comes back to bowl and gets an outside edge, the first ball that goes for 4. And when it rains, it pours. You know, sometimes you come on, you get an outside edge, it flies up in the air and somebody takes a brilliant catch. Sometimes you get an outside edge, it goes for 4.
Well, there's little that Farnham can do at this stage. You know, this would have to be just bordering on miracle to stop the flow of runs and come back to win this game. So I'm very encouraged to go pack my stuff as well. Blistering cover drive. Savage brutality. That one really peeled on the grass, the lush green grass here at the National Stadium. Look at that.
You know, we can always be optimistic and say, you know, it's just 7 balls and you get 7 wickets and the game is done. I don't think that'll happen in this case.
Easier. That's wishful thinking. Spilling it there. Not a nice sight.
And that's the game. Australia won by 7 wickets. Is it? Yeah.
I think they're short, maybe.
Yes, the umpires are now being told that the game has been completed. Mr. Chan, I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity to...
International debut? No, you did commentary.
Yes, I did commentary in 2023 here also. Unfortunately, West Indies coming on the losing end. Australia coming out on top.
So the players just about wending their way. We'd have some handshakes on the way. Beautiful. Look at that grass. It's kind of lush green with all this sun. We know Karachi had some flooding the other day. Good to see everybody's lives back intact. As the West Indies leave the premises of the National Stadium here in Karachi. Good game, I think. The West Indies failed to post sufficiently good enough total.
Yes, runs on a ground and a wicket like this is essential. Not being able to post a bigger target. Australia was able to overcome it quite easily, taking some of the bowlers apart from West Indies. Edwards coming in and playing that hand is the main factor in this game, finishing in the 13.4 overs, whereas it seemed to it might have dragged on to 18, 19 overs.
So you have your scorecard there. Not much of a scorecard to read. And Jaleel there striking 57 of 37 deliveries. Really an aggressive hit, not with flimsy shots. They were all good cricketing shots. Richard Wild supporting with 17, 131 for 3. And the bowling there for you, the wickets being shared, but not many wickets had fallen. So the Australians winning by 7 wickets here at the National Stadium. So that's the story. I think we've got a second match coming up in just a while. So only Zamin Amin picking up 2 wickets, and one went to the guy out of BVI, Mette Holzer. So that's the match summary there appearing on your screen. So I want to thank all our friends in the commentary box, the Pakistanis. I myself would have some bit of ancestry here. I'm wondering which one of them I'm related to here. If one of you guys are wealthy, you're my family.